Good evening, everybody. This is your man, DeSean BBN, and welcome to another edition of my podcast. Hope y'all had a great Monday. I got a good podcast in store for you today. Now, first in the pecking order, I gotta give a shout out to my Kentucky Wildcats. The Kentucky Wildcats football team beat Missouri 29-7 this weekend. Now, I gotta say, I was surprised that we beat Missouri 29-7. Now, I figured we could beat them. I just didn't think we would beat them comfortably. It's been a rocky season. Let's be honest here. I mean, we started off great, and then Terry Wilson got hurt, and things have been rocky. But we got back on the winning path on Saturday, and I'm happy. Now, I wish we was doing better than 4-4, but on the positive side, we could still go 8-4. We could still get a decent bowl game. I mean, I just want to see Kentucky playing a bowl game other than the Music City Bowl. I remember when I was in school, I mean, it seemed like every year Kentucky was going to the Music City Bowl. I'm like, man, if we could just win 8 games, we could go to something other than the Music City Bowl. I mean, hey, a bowl game's a bowl game, but I'm pretty sure the football team gets tired of traveling to Nashville. I mean, Nashville's a nice city, but in the middle of December, in late December, early January, Nashville get a little chilly. So hopefully they go 8-4. Hopefully they get a better bowl game and go somewhere like in Georgia or Florida. I don't know. Now the player of the game obviously was Lynn Bowden Jr. He had 204 yards rushing. As a team, we ran for 297 yards. And as I just mentioned, Lynn Bowden Jr. had 204 of those yards. Now, Lynn Bowden, I think if he keeps it up, he'll win the Paul Hornick Award because he's been doing everything for us. He's been playing quarterback, he's been playing running back, he's been receiver, he's returned kicks, returned punts. Like Lynn Bowden's like a Swiss Army knife. He a utility player. He can do a little bit of everything. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna miss Lynn Bowden when he does go to the NFL. I mean, maybe he comes back for his senior year. Maybe he decides to leave after this year, which, I mean, if he does leave, he'd probably go third, fourth round. I don't know for sure, but if he comes back for his senior year and does better, I mean, he could play his way up into the late first, maybe early second round. Anyways, moving forward, 4-4. We got 4 games left. We've got Tennessee Martin, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Louisville. Now, Vanderbilt is the only road game we got left. Now, I'm still a little. I mean, I feel a little bit better about Kentucky, but I'm still not 100% confident that we'll go 4-0 and finish the season 8-4. Like, our next game is against Tennessee, which, I mean, they're bad. They're 3-5. I mean, let's be honest here. Tennessee used to be great. I mean, they used to be the team to beat in the SEC back when Phil Fulmer was their coach. But Phil Fulmer's gone, and Tennessee hasn't rebounded since he left. I mean, they've had a few good years, but they haven't been great. They haven't been elite like they used to be. Matter of fact, they was bad last year. I believe last year Tennessee went 4-8, didn't even make it to a bowl game, and so far this year Tennessee is 3-5. But I'm not I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, we got this for sure, because I mean we lost to Tennessee last year, who won 4 games. But the good thing is we are playing Tennessee at home, so maybe that home field advantage will help us pull out the victory. Now the Louisville game, even though we are playing at home, that game worries me a little bit too, because Louisville's better than what they were last year. I mean, last year Louisville finished the season 2-10. This year Louisville's 5-3, like, way better than what they were last year. I mean, Louisville, all they need is one more win and they'll be bowl eligible. I mean, the good thing for us is we'll be at home this year. Tennessee Martin, I mean, I'm not really too worried about that game. And Vanderbilt, I think we'll beat Vanderbilt as long as we don't overlook them, as long as we take care of business and not try to look ahead. Vanderbilt should be a win. So, yes, I do think we can go 8-4. We just got to take care of business. And we also got to throw the ball more. Now, Mark Stoops, he said that if it weren't for the rainy conditions, he would have asked Lynn Bowden to throw the ball more against Missouri. But because it was so wet and rainy. We only attempted 8 passes against Missouri. Now, you ain't gonna win too many games throwing 8 passes, especially against good teams. Now, Missouri, I mean, for whatever it worked. Our game plan worked to perfection against Missouri because we beat them 29-7. But we ain't gonna be able to win every game throwing only 8 passes. I mean, we're gonna have to stretch the field with the pass every now and then. So hopefully, I like the passing game will improve. Now, I gotta say the defense has improved because we looked great against Missouri. We held them to under 300 yards. So and they only scored 1 touchdown. So that's a positive. Other Kentucky news: college basketball starts next Tuesday. Kentucky goes into the 2019-2020 season ranked number 2. Our first game of the year is against number 1 Michigan State. Now, it's going to be a tough game, but I think we'll win. I mean, just as long as we come out prepared and don't come out shook, we should be Michigan State. I mean, we shouldn't fall flat on our face like we did against Duke last year, losing 114-84. That was just that loss. It still hurts. I mean, you don't like losing, especially to a rival team like Duke's. But when you lose that badly, it's just like, man, what the hell happened? So hopefully we come out fully prepared for Michigan State. I mean, they are going to be without Josh Langford, who is one of their better players, but I think we can pull out the win. I mean, we're not going to blow them out, but I think we'll beat Michigan by like 6 to 8 points and take over as the number 1 team. Now, our schedule this year ain't as rough as it was last year, but I think there's a good chance we'll go to the Final Four this year. Now, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, we could miss the Final Four, but I feel confident about this team. We got more than enough talent. We got more than enough experience. We got a good coach. I mean, we just need a little bit of luck to go our way and take care of business, and we'll definitely be in the Final Four. Now, some Kentucky basketball predictions. I think our leading scorer will be Tyrese Maxey. He'll probably average about 17 to 20 points per game and go on to be a lottery pick in the 2020 NBA draft. Tyrese Maxey was our highest rated recruit. He was ranked number 10 in the class of 2019. He's a combo guard. He can score off the dribble. He can shoot. He's a pretty good athlete. Kind of reminds me of Lou Williams, but a little bit taller. See, Tyrese Maxey is about 6'3", and Lou Williams is about 6'1". The reason why I say Maxey is like Lou Williams because he can go out there and get buckets on any given night. No matter who it's against, no matter the circumstances, he's going to go out there and get them buckets. Our leading rebounder, Nate Sestina, the grad student transfer from Bucknell. He'll probably average about 8 to 10 rebounds per game. Our leading assist man, it'll be Ashton Hagans. He'll probably average about 5 to 6 assists per game. Now, I think overall we'll probably go like for the regular season, we'll probably finish 28-3. We'll win the SEC tournament and then potentially go on to win the Final Four. Now, since the season hasn't started yet, I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, we're winning the championship. Nah. I mean, I ain't going to go that far. I mean, it'd be nice, but let me see them play first before I jump to that kind of conclusion. However, there is one prediction I will make, even though the season hasn't started. We will beat Louisville. Yeah, that's right. We'll beat Louisville. L's down. It'll be the 12th time, I believe, since Calipari's been our coach. Yeah, we got that one. We'll beat Louisville. I mean, I don't care. Now, of course, this won't happen, but I mean, we could lose every game of the season as long as we don't lose to Louisville or any of our rivals. I mean, it won't be a complete failure of a season. But I mean, I do think Louisville will give us a good fight. But since it is at Rupp Arena, and since we do got a better team, I think we'll pull out the win. But I mean, I will say this about Louisville: I will cheer for Louisville only when they play Duke or North Carolina. When they play against Duke and North Carolina, I cheer for Louisville. Any other time, forget Louisville. I mean, forget them. Forget Louisville. Whoever's playing against Louisville, go you. But when it's Duke or North Carolina, go Cards. That is the only time I will ever cheer for Louisville. But any other time, it's all about Kentucky. But, I mean, I also cheer for Western Kentucky since Bowling Green is the hometown. Gotta show some love for the hometown team. I think Western will win the Conference USA this year and make it back to the NCAA tournament. It's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe a little bit longer since Western last made the tournament. So hopefully this year, Charles Bassey will put the team on his back and get them to the NCAA tournament. Now I'm going to shift gears to the NBA. Now, if you haven't already noticed, the NBA season is back. My Dallas Mavericks are 2-1. We beat Portland. No, we lost to Portland, but we beat New Orleans and we beat somebody else from the Western Conference. I can't remember who it was, but right now we're 2-1. Oh, it wasn't somebody from the Western Conference. It was the Washington Wizards. We beat the Wizards, beat the Pelicans, lost to the Blazers. Now, Dallas looks pretty good right now. I mean, Luka Doncic is playing like an all-star. Porzingis, yeah, he's still shaking some rust off, but he looks good. We got some good shooters. I mean, Seth Curry's playing good. Tim Hardaway Jr. is doing solid. Dorian Finney-Smith is doing solid. Dallas, I mean, it's been 3 years since we last made the playoffs, but I think there's a good chance we'll get to the playoffs this year. Now, we probably won't. We'll probably get a 7 seed, maybe an 8 seed, and have to face the Lakers or the Clippers in the first round. But you know what? I mean, I'd rather us go to the playoffs and get beat than to not make it to the playoffs at all. Anyways, with the NBA season starting, I will do a top 10 for each position. Now, my last video, I did the top 10 point guards. Today, I'll do the top 10 shooting guards. Now, just like with the point guards, I'll start with some honorable mentions before I jump into my top 10. Now, just a side note, this is my opinion. Mine. This is not ESPN's opinion. I'm not saying my opinion is fact. I'm not saying you got to agree with me. This is just my opinion. If you disagree, if you agree, that's fine. Feel free to drop your top 10 if you want to. But this is just my opinion. You don't have to take it. You don't have to take it at face value. That's all I'm saying. Now, my first honorable mention is Klay Thompson. Yes, Klay Thompson. Yeah, I know what you're probably thinking. Klay Thompson, honorable mention. Man, he's like the best shooting guard in the game. Stop. First of all, he's not the best shooting guard in the game. At least in my opinion, he's not. And secondly, the only reason I'm putting Klay as an honorable mention is because he's not going to play this year. I mean, the Warriors have announced said it's unlikely he's going to play this year. Now, if Klay Thompson does play, the earliest we'll see him is March. By that time, there'll only be like a month left of the NBA season. Like, how much can he do in 1 month to justify being the number one shooting guard, if that's what you believe? Now, if Klay was healthy, yes, he'd be in my top 3 for the best shooting guards in the NBA. He's the best shooter in the NBA, not named Stephen Curry. He's a pretty good defensive player. He's a great sidekick, a star player. I mean, yeah, he's without a doubt top 3 when he's healthy. But because he's not healthy, because he probably won't play at all this year, Klay Thompson gets an honorable mention. Moving on. My next honorable mention is Klay Thompson's teammate, DAngelo Russell. Now, he's normally a point guard, but because he's on the Warriors and they have Stephen Curry, DeAngelo's going to be playing as a 2 guard. Now, if I was to include DAngelo Russell as a point guard, yeah, he would have been in the top 10. Now, if you missed my top 10 point guards video, my top 10 was Steph Curry, number 1. It was Damian Lillard, 2. Russell Westbrook, 3. Kyrie Irving at 4. Kemba Walker at 5. Number 6, it was Ben Simmons. Number 7, it was Jamal Murray. Number 8, it was De'Aaron Fox. Number 9, Trae Young. Number 10, Mike Conley. Now, if I was to include DAngelo Russell in the point guards, he would have been at number 7, which would have pushed everybody down 1. It would have pushed Mike Conley out of the top 10 and into the honorable mentions. DAngelo, he's good. I mean, I personally believe the Lakers gave up on him too quick. I mean, they bought into the hype with Lonzo Ball, and now look at him. Ball doesn't play for him. DeAngelo Russell went on. They traded DeAngelo Russell to Brooklyn, and he went on to become an All Star. Yep, I mean it was their loss, but I mean it's the Lakers. They won't be. I mean, as much as I don't like the Lakers, they ain't gonna. They're not gonna be bad forever, and it's obvious this year. I mean, long as LeBron and AD stay healthy, Lakers are going to the playoffs. But anyways, DeAngelo Russell, top 10 point guard, honorable mention for shooting guards. I mean, he can score. He's a pretty good playmaker, a good shooter. Now, the only knock on D'Angelo, sometimes he's inconsistent on both ends of the floor. I mean, he's not the best defensive player in the world, but sometimes he tries. But he's not always consistent, especially on the defense. And he's, well, he still has some work to do. But the sky's the limit for D'Angelo Russell. He's still a young player. This is only his fifth year, I believe. So he'll continue to get better. Last year won't be the last time we see D'Angelo Russell in the All Star game, so long as he continues to improve. Now, my next honorable mention is Lou Williams. Lou Williams is the best six man in the NBA. He has a chance to go down as one of the greatest six men in NBA history, maybe even the greatest. He's won Six Man of the Year twice. Last year he averaged 22 points per game. He scored the most points for all reserve NBA players, had the highest points per game average for reserve players. Lou Williams definitely deserves an honorable mention. You could argue him being top 10, but I just don't know if for me personally, I don't know if Lou Williams is good enough to warrant top 10 without a doubt. So for that, I'll give him an honorable mention. My next honorable mention is Karis LeVert, shooting guard for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, LeVert, he's he was one of my favorite players in college basketball that didn't play for Kentucky. And he was pretty good. He would have been a lottery pick when he left Michigan, but he injured his foot and ended up getting drafted late in the first round. Now, LeVert, when he's healthy, he's actually pretty good. I mean, he can score. He's a decent shooter, a good playmaker. Now he does need to get better defensively. He does need to he needs to be better at 3-point shooting. But he can definitely score. I mean, I think he scored like 20 points in all three games that Brooklyn has played this year. I mean, he's helping Kyrie out. So, once Kevin Durant comes back, though, LeVert can take a backseat to them and be the third guy. Now, I think he's got all-star potential. If he doesn't make it this year, maybe next year. So long as he continues to improve, I think he will eventually turn into an all-star. Heck, he was arguably Brooklyn's best player last year because before he got injured, he was looking like a player that could go on and win Most Improved Player. But I mean, as we all know, he got hurt. D'Angelo Russell led Brooklyn to the playoffs, and he was a finalist for Most Improved Player. My next honorable mention, I got two more: Malcolm Brogdon and Jrue Holiday. Now, Jrue, like D'Angelo, well, actually, Malcolm and Jrue, like D'Angelo, they can play both guard positions, point guard and shooting guard. Now, Brogdon, he's a the only reason I ain't got him in the top 10 is because he's a complimentary player. I mean, he's a really good role player. I mean, if you need a guy that can take some of the pressure off your star player, Malcolm Brogdon's that guy. And he's very efficient. He had a 50-40-90 season last year. He's a decent playmaker, solid on the defensive end, still fairly young. I mean, I think he's like 26. He got drafted after his senior year at Virginia, so he was older than the other rookies when he got drafted. But I mean, even though he is in his mid to late 20s, I mean, I think as long as he stays healthy, I mean, they'll get at least 10 good years out of him, maybe more than that. Now, Jrue Holiday, there's a guy who Jrue Holiday is probably at the peak of his career. Now, he's pretty good. He's a great defender, a reliable scorer, a good playmaker. His 3-point shooting is not too great, but if New Orleans is going to be competitive this year, it's going to rest on Drew Holiday's shoulders. I mean, with Anthony Davis gone, he's now their best player, so he's going to have to lead these young Bucks and get them to the playoffs. All right, now that the honorable mentions are over, let's jump into the top 10. Number 10, Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield is the starting shooting guard for the Sacramento Kings. And this year is his fourth season. In his first 3 years, he set an NBA record for the most total threes made by an NBA player in their first 3 seasons. He's a damn good shooter. I mean, he shot at least 40% from the 3-point line every year he's been in the NBA. But he ain't just a shooter. I mean, he can create out the dribble, he can get to the rim. He's a decent rebounder for the shooting guard position and a decent playmaker. Now, the big knock on Buddy, he's not the best defensive player in the world, and also his age. I mean, Buddy Hield, even though this is his 4th year in the NBA, he's already 26, going on 27, which for a 4th-year player, 26 is kind of old. Now, take in comparison Devin Booker, who's in his 5th year in the NBA. He's 23 years old. Now, of course, Devin Booker got drafted after 1 year at Kentucky, and he was 18 years old coming out. But, yeah, Buddy was 22. Or actually, I think he was 23 when he came out of Oklahoma. And because he was so much older, I mean, his upside isn't as high as some of these others. Now, Buddy, I think he'll continue to improve, but the bottom half of the top 10 is probably about as good as he's going to get because of his advanced age. He don't have the same upside as some of these other shooting guards. All right, moving along, number 9, Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. Now, I like Zach. He's a pretty good player. He's fun to watch. He's one of the best dunkers in the NBA. But he's not just a dunker. He's a good 3-point shooter, a good scorer, a solid secondary playmaker. Zach LaVine, well, the only thing he really needs to work on is defense. He's a good enough shooter, a good enough scorer, one hell of an athlete, fun player to watch. Now, I mean, if LaVine continues to get better, as well as the other young Bulls like Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr., the Bulls, they could make some noise. Now, I think the Bulls got enough talent, with LaVine being the best player on that team, but they're just missing a coach. If they had the right coach, they could make a push for the playoffs. Now, LaVine for now is number 9. Could he move up? Yeah. Could he ever be the best shooting guard in the game? I don't know. But for right now, I got him at number 9. Number 8, CJ McCollum. Now, CJ McCollum, he plays for Portland. CJ, ever since he was drafted by Portland and put into the starting lineup, he's averaged at least 20 points per game. He's a great shooter, got a good mid-range game, good 3-point shooter, good free throw shooter. It's a great sidekick to Damian Lillard. CJ McCollum, my personal opinion, is the best player in the NBA that has never made to the All-Star game. Now, of course, I'm talking about current players. I mean, as far as all-time players go, I'm not sure who I would say, but for the players who are playing right now, CJ McCollum is the best not the best shooting guard, but the best player in general who has never made to the All-Star game. All right, number 7, not Donovan Mitchell, but DeMar DeRozan. Now, DeMar, he's like the only perimeter player who can make it to the All-Star game without a 3-point shot. The NBA is all about the 3-point shot, thanks to the Warriors. But yeah, DeMar DeRozan, this dude, he's got a great mid-range game, great finisher, nice dunker. He's a great scorer. He just ain't got a 3-point shot. It makes you wonder, like, how does this guy manage to do it with no 3-point shot? Like, last year, DeMar DeRozan averaged 24 points per game. He only shot 15% from the 3-point line. That's terrible. 15%? Come on, man. Like, you don't even... You don't even have to try that hard, and you could make 30% of your 3-point attempts. This dude shot 15% from the 3-point line. Here's another fun tidbit. DeMar DeRozan has not made a 3-point shot since December of 2018. That's almost a whole year. But yeah, the dude still goes out there and gets 25, 30 points. He still makes it to the All-Star game. Still led the Spurs to the playoffs. But because DeMar don't have that 3-point shot, I can't put him too much higher. Especially since the 3-point shot is so important in today's NBA. All right, number 6, Donovan Mitchell. Now, Donovan Mitchell he's great. Yeah, even though he went to Louisville, Donovan Mitchell's a great player. I got nothing but respect for him. Dude's a flat-out scorer, good shooter, good defensive player. He's, my personal opinion, the best player on the Jazz. Now, he's knocking on the door of stardom. He's definitely an all-star player in the making. He's a legitimate two-way player. He's I'd probably say one of the top, as far as the shooting guard position goes. Yeah, if I was going to rank the shooting guards by their defense, Donovan Mitchell would be in the top 5 without question. But even though I do have him at number 6, I think in another year or two he will break into the top 5. He's a great scorer, good shooter, good playmaker. Defensively, he's pretty good too. Now, what shocked me about Donovan Mitchell is I was reading an article and Donovan Mitchell said he needs to improve on his defense. And I'm like, is this guy serious? You need to improve your defense? You're already good at defense. But hey, I guess it's not a bad thing to want to improve on something that you probably don't need too much improvement on. Hey, I think Donovan Mitchell's good enough to be like an all NBA defensive team caliber player. But if he feels like defense is something he needs to improve upon, I hope he does it. Hope he turns into a two-way beast and potentially, I don't know, maybe join my Dallas Mavericks one day and help Luka and Porzingis win a championship. All right, now time for the top 5. All right, number 5, Victor Oladipo, Indiana Pacers. Now, Vic, yeah, he's one of the many star players who got hurt last year and still hasn't played a game yet this year. Now, when will we see Oladipo play? I don't know. Now, if Victor Oladipo doesn't play at all this year, then bump him out of the top 5 and put him in the honorable mentions with Klay Thompson. Oladipo, he kind of reminds me of Dwayne Wade. He's a hyper-athletic 2-guard who's great at slashing, great at finishing at the rim, good passer, good defensive player as well. Now, Oladipo is a little bit better than Dwayne Wade as a 3-point shooter. Now, Vic, I didn't like Victor Oladipo when he played at Indiana for the Hoosiers, but I got nothing but respect for him in the NBA. He's a great player. I feel like Orlando gave up on him too quickly. They traded him to Oklahoma City, where he played there for a year, and then Oklahoma City traded him to the Pacers to get Paul George, and he was voted to the All-Star game both times. He's been in it. Both years he's been in Indiana. Now, Indiana's going to need Vic to get healthy and carry them to the playoffs. So right now, they're struggling. Now, of course, we're only in the first month of the season, but yeah, Indiana's not looking too good right now without Victor Oladipo. So they're going to need him back ASAP. All right, number 4, my guy, Devin Booker. Devin Booker is, besides his defense, there really isn't much that Devin Booker needs to work on. But yeah, he's a Kentucky Wildcat, but I gotta admit, he's one of the worst defensive shooting guards in the game. But he's still top 5, for me at least, because of his scoring ability, his shooting, his all-around game. He ain't just a scorer and a shooter. He's a pretty good rebounder for a 2-guard, as well as a pretty good playmaker for a 2-guard. Right now, I believe he's averaging like 8 assists per game, which, if he keeps it up, it'll be a career high. Last year, Devin Booker averaged, I believe, 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. Now, of course, I mean, the naysayers are going to be like, oh, his stats are empty. Phoenix was bad last year. Yes, that is true. Phoenix was bad, but it's not really Devin Booker's fault. I mean, I guess you could put some of the blame on him, but you couldn't put all the blame on him. I mean, he ain't got no help. Who does Devin Booker have to help him other than DeAndre Ayton, who the NBA suspended for 25 games? He really doesn't have anyone else out there that can go out there and consistently score 20, 25 points. He needs help. But yes, my personal opinion, I mean, Devin Booker is probably not a superstar. All-star player, definitely, but I don't think Devin Booker is the kind of guy that can lead a team to the promised land. Now, if you were to stick Devin Booker on a team that already has a superstar and let him be the secondary star, yeah, Devin Booker could help you win a championship. I mean, it worked for Pau Gasol. I mean, he was the best player in Memphis. They really didn't accomplish much with him. Then he gets traded to LA, where he was the sidekick all-star to Kobe, and the Lakers win 2 championships in 3 years. And Pau Gasol was a big reason why that happened. Or like Kevin Love. Kevin Love didn't accomplish anything in Minnesota. Gets traded to Cleveland, where he plays off of LeBron and Kyrie and helps them win a championship. Devin Booker could be that guy. I mean, if we was to throw Devin Booker on the Clippers or the Lakers, the way they're currently constructed, oh man, give them the championship. Like Devin Booker's that damn good. Now, of course, Devin Booker won't go to the Lakers or Clippers. I mean, it wouldn't happen. I mean, if the Clippers were to trade for Devin Booker, they'd probably have to give up Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, and they don't have any more first-round draft picks for the next few years because they traded them to Oklahoma City. Now, the Lakers probably couldn't get him either because Lakers, I mean, the only young piece they got to trade is Kyle Kuzma, and I'm not sure how their draft picks are looking. So, yeah, it wouldn't happen. But trust me, if Devin Booker were to go to a better team where he could be the secondary guy, watch. He could help that team win a championship. All right, now time for the top 3. Number 3, Bradley Beal. Now, Bradley Beal, if Klay Thompson was healthy, Klay would be right here at number 3, and that would bump everybody else down 1. But Bradley Beal, number 3. He's one hell of a scorer, a pretty good playmaker at the 2 guard position, good rebounder, solid on the defensive end. Now, I mean, he's not playing too good right now. I mean, he's averaging over 25 points per game, I believe, but he isn't shooting the ball particularly well. But, I mean, he doesn't have much help in Washington, so it's no surprise his field goal percentages and 3-point shooting percentages are taking a hit. But Bradley Beal, I mean, a top 5 shooting guard for sure. Now, my personal opinion, there ain't too many shooting guards who are better than Bradley Beal. Now, I mean, if the Lakers were to acquire Bradley Beal, I mean, that would take them over the top of the Clippers. Or if the Clippers were to acquire Bradley Beal, then yeah, they would be in the championship without question. Now, I mean, there's other teams that Bradley Beal could push over the top just by his presence alone. Like if Bradley Beal's playing for the 76ers, I mean, they for sure win the East and probably for sure win the finals. Now, Philadelphia is actually my pick to win the Eastern Conference this year, my prediction pick, but that's beyond the point. Bradley Beal, number 3 shooting guard in the game. Number 2, Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat. Now, Jimmy, yeah, you can say what you want about him. Yeah, you can say whatever you want about him, but he's a damn good basketball player. I mean, he leads by example. He's a great defender. He can score. He can create for others as well as himself. I mean, the way I describe Jimmy Butler is Diet Kawhi Leonard. They're very similar players, but Kawhi everything Jimmy does, Kawhi does it better. Jimmy's a good scorer while Kawhi's a great scorer. Jimmy's a good rebounder while Kawhi is great. Jimmy's a great defender. Kawhi Leonard is elite. Yeah, so pretty much Diet Kawhi Leonard. Now, if Jimmy Butler had another star to help him out, I mean, Miami could make some noise in the East. But he's not literally by himself. I mean, he doesn't play 1-on-5, but he is the only star player on Miami. but they do got some good young players around them. Now, if Jimmy Butler were to recruit some guys to come with him, like LeBron and Kawhi did this offseason, yeah, Miami could make some noise in the East and possibly win it. But I do think Jimmy Butler will lead Miami to the playoffs, but they'll probably lose in the second round to Philadelphia or Milwaukee. I don't know. Butler, he he's gonna be great for Miami. He's gonna help these young guys. He's gonna develop them into potential stars. He's the man. I mean, I get it. I mean, he ain't the most popular player. I mean, some people may see him as an asshole, but hey, Jimmy Butler's great. Now, number one, no surprise, James Harden, best shooting guard in the game. He averaged 36 points per game last year, which that hadn't been done since I believe Kobe was the last player in the NBA to average 35 points or more in a season. James Harden did last year while also averaging about 8 assists and 8 rebounds. Harden, I mean, you can say whatever you want about Harden. He's a flopper. He don't play defense. Harden's overrated. Blah 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 blah. But Harden's the best shooting guard in the game. He scores, he shoots, he rebounds, he passes the ball at a high level. He is better defensively. I mean, he was second in the NBA in steals. Although he doesn't play defense all the time, Harden is actually a solid defensive player. And this is coming from a Mavericks fan. I don't like the Rockets. I mean, I like to see them lose. So, I mean, this isn't me being biased. James Harden is the best shooting guard in the game, whether you like it or not. I mean, yes, he may shoot a lot of free throws. Yeah, he does flop, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But for all his flaws, he does have there's a lot of good about him. I mean, he's going to give you 25 plus points every game. He's going to get you about 8 to 10 assists and 8 to 10 rebounds. Yeah, the only thing Harden's really missing is a championship. But, I mean, if he keeps putting up these offensive numbers, he's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame anyway. So, I mean, it's not like you need a championship ring to get into the Hall of Fame. Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, Karl Malone, just a few players right there that don't have rings that made to the Naismith Hall of Fame. Well, there you have it. Top 10 shooting guards. Harden number 1, Buddy Hield number 10. And everyone else in between. Next time y'all see me, I'll do the top 10 for the small forwards position. It's your man, DeSean BBN, and I'm out. Y'all have a good night.